アストーリーね。初見プレイだけどやってこっかなと思います。スタート。マウスで操作かな。おう。何？ログイン名。アウスゲスト。アーカイブにアクセスするための検索キーワードを入力してください。殺人検索。3つのクリップが見つかりました。パソコン操作していくゲームなのかな。セッションに保存。再生。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder.
容疑者かな。
What can I do to help?
取り調べなんだろうな。おー、短っ。この人が取り調べ受けてんだな、多分。容疑で。殺人の容疑かなんか。
Yeah, that's me. But February? I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
サイモンって人は死んだんか。サイモンが死んだ。
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other. Just that. Stories.
おー。なるほど。そしたらどうするのか。映像字幕。ああ、これセットね。オプション的な。殺人のタグで3つ。何？あ、終わっちゃった。嘘。ブラウザー開こうと思ったのに。ああ、開けんだ。あ、時間がどんどん経過していくのか、これ。時間制限あるこのゲームって。DB チェッカー。データベース。更新。マイコンピューターはマイコンピューター。ロジックデータベース。あ、ゲームの説明か、これ。デジタル化し、より活用しやすい形で証拠を保存するための試みの一つ。データベースには、ポーツマスの凶悪犯罪関連アーカイブより集めたビデオ映像が収録されております。収納されておりますって。それぞれにキーワードを追加することで、法廷への提出の際などに活用することができます。法廷？クリップを取得するには、検索ボックスに言葉を入力する必要があり、強盗、言葉を、例強盗だって、言葉を入力して検索を押すと、言葉が含まれるクリップが検索される。また半角スペースで区切って複数の言葉を入力することで検索の幅を狭めることができます。例強盗、スーパーマーケット。テープを文字に起こした資料などが手元にある場合は、発言の全文をダブルコーテーションで書くことで、その発言と完全に一致するクリップを見つけ出すことも可能。検 検索したクリップを後で参照した場合はセッションに保存。またタグボックスに任意のキーワードを検索しておくと、その言葉からクリップを検索できるようになります。なるほど。じゃあこれ検索に今殺人っていう言葉が入った動画が今表示されてるってことか。リアリーリードミー。こいつがデータベースだ。情報公開法に沿って申請し、ゲストとしてのアクセス権を取得しておいたよ。見たところちゃんと機能しているようだな。オリジナルのビデオテープからの移行は1999年に行われたみたいだが、その後の Y2K 騒ぎやなんやらで、こいつは放置されたままになっているようだ。2000年問題ね。Windows 2007、とかがあった時か、ME とかいろいろあったよな。残念ながら刑事の映像が入ったサーバーの方は見つけられなかった。あるいは97年の洪水の際にやられたかもな。ゴミ箱、ハック、インフォ、ミラータイル。何これ？ウイルスか。トラックスピーズクラス。これオセロか。一人で遊ぶオセロか、これ。あんま面白くないな、これ。じゃあちょっと調査していくか。サイモンっていうのを入れてみようか。サイモン。サイモンっていう人が死んだみたいだから。これ同じ動画かな。あ、見てないやつは目のマークがついてるのかな。
Simon Smith.
サイモン・スミス。
Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work, mirror making, feature windows, artistic things, really beautiful things.
ああ、ガラス会社に勤めてる人が死んだのね。
It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
もう一回見ていい？
It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock. It's run by a nice couple.
ザ・ロックって店の名前か。
There's
ピ
some
ータ
other
ーと
regulars
スー
there
ザン
that。Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks. Yes, there's an Amstrad one. No one uses it for very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games, climb the tower, save the princess, that kind of thing.
ドンキーコングじゃないそれ。ドンキーコングじゃないか。なんだ？
Simon isn't the type to run off or do anything crazy. Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next?
この人の証言しか取れないのか。
Thanks. Please find Simon. I love him so much.
恋人なのかこの人は。サイモン。酔っ払ってたっぽいな。52個のクリップ。アクセスできるのは最初の5番目のクリップまで。 嘘でしょ。どういうシステムなのそれ。昔のパソコンはそうなってこと？絞り込みが必要なのか。サイモンのクリップ12個もあるのにな。絞り込みが必要か。何をすればいいんだまずこれ。目的がわからんの。この人の悪事を暴くのか、それとも潔白を証明するのか、何なの？
It's the Rockington Arms.
ピーターとスーザン、
It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan.
カップルが経営
There's
してい
some
る。
other regulars there that some likes to drink
ヘ
with.
レンっていうのは引っかかる
The
な。
barley they're having sometimes. Helen.
なんでヘレン
Says
っていう
Simon
の
had been in and had a few
やつ
drinks.
を覚えてんだ。従業員一人か。ヘレン。
No. I think he spoke to Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said.
討論したんだね。
He likes blondes.
討論気になるね。何をそんな揉めたんだ？
So, it was Friday evening.
金曜日の夜討論して彼が出てっ
He
た。
left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
これは重要じゃないか。もしかしたら。そうしとこうか。エリックっていうのは出てきたの。
There's married couple stuff. A stupid argument. Nothing specific. No one knows how to push your buttons better than those you're close to. No. I mean, yes, we have arguments, but he never runs off. He always comes back. We make up. It's always that way.
まあよくある喧嘩の。
Yes. He left after the argument. It was about
いつものことって感じなのかな。8時に出てった。ちょっと取っとこうか。10個クリップがあって。エリック。
he was wearing a shirt
青いタートルネックのシャツを着て、ジーンズを履い
and
てる。
jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric.
上司なんだね、エリッ
He
ク
had
は。
his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the house.
行方不明になっちゃった時に来たんだね、こうやって。
Yes, there's a car that we share, a Cavalier, and a van he
Cavalier.
uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it. Both of them are there now, parked in the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I get back.
外出てったの車使ってないんだね。
Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa, a silver one. He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash, but Eric convinced him to get one.
クレジットカード。
Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
ダイアン。 この人の証言しか得られないのか。これダイヤ。変換ミス。歌ってる。ギターで。何それ。
Diane is really nice. She helps out with the glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids. She used to look out for me when I worked there.
子供が2人いる。そんな関係ある？
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, it must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
グラスゴー。アリバイのことかな。ちょっと取っとこうか。アリバイの証言してるな。
Not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diane is a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off Ceefax, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket.
寝るってなんだ。
Have you ever eaten fennel?
何のことなのかもしれないな。フェンネルって何？ファンネルなら知ってるけど。
Not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house.
ミートもだし。
Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diane is a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off Ceefax, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel?
あんま関係なさそうだけど気になるな。フェンネル。覚えとこ
Simon and Eric arguing? No.
う。ギター持ってんだろ。
Imagine they'd be arguing. And they get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
ギター使わないのか。1個しかない。全然関係ないな、これ。アリバイがグラスゴーとか言ってたよな。
That's Simon's watch.
あ、シークバーあるじゃん。
That time.
グラスゴー。グラスゴー。何なんだ、グラスゴー。わあ、いっぱいある。グラスゴーめっちゃ発言してんじゃん。10個あるよ。
I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
いつの話だ？
Yes. I got to Glasgow, I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back.
ちょっともう一回いい？
Yes.
車を脇に止めて眠った。
truck went
ゴミ車
past.
を起こされて、ガソリンを入れて、コーヒー買って、公衆電話から電話をかけ、家に戻った。
Headed back.
通話履歴が残ってないとおかしいな。
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
グラスゴ。目撃者の話か。
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving
タクシーにぶつかった。
badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
ああ、それは動かぬ証拠になるよな。これ何個保存できんのかな。ハードディスク使用量が限られてるのか。タクシー。
A police station.
どうやって来たかの話これ。
When I was young, we ran away on my birthday. Bob Dylan was playing in London and we thought we could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off. I mean, we'd saved money, pinched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve. So my parents let me off.
関係なさそうだな。
It's like I told you before. I drove. I took the car and drove.
車に乗って出
I
か
didn't
け
have
た。
my own car, but I had a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering.
花
And then I decided to drive back.
花誰だ花
I had decided that she was more important to me than Simon.
ちょっと取っとこうか。花どこに電話したかわかんなかったけど、花が出てきたの。
My name is Hannah. Hannah. It's
Hannah.
Patrick. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work from America though. It's not quite symmetrical, but well, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith. I live at 31 Gladstone Street. My name is Hannah.
マイネームグラッドストーンストリートに住んでる。グラッドストーンストリート。
My name is Hannah.
マイネームイズって言ってるのはこの人の名前か。どうしよう。イブまた出たな、イブが。またっていうか。花イブ。花がイブのことなんか言ったら、この態度ってことね。なんだ。あ、意味深だぞ。人がいない状況であの態度だったと。録画されてることも知らずに。イブ
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
ん？登場人物一人だよな。
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time.
双子？
The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
あ、なんだ？なんか今自分の顔が映ったけど。曲もかかってんだけど。
She recognized me from the window.
双子だな、花。
She told me to come inside, and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. There was a dollhouse. She hid me up there. No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place.
どっかで入れ替わってんじゃねえか、姉妹がどっかのタイミングで。
She recognized me from the window. She told me to come inside, and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. There was a dollhouse. She hid me up there. No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place.
別に関係ない。イブってのは、ああ、何これ。あ、花じゃないこれ。花かイブ、花の顔みたいなの映ったんだけど。
Well, my friend Eve.
友達のイブ。
She was a friend from when I was a kid. She was always more popular with the boys, and I used to hate her for it. I mean, really hate her sometimes.
憎しみの感情抱いてたんね。
Yes.
ちょっと可愛いから。
We fought on the beach once, and I held Eve's head underwater. There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach, and I held her head under, and I kept it under. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her and watch her drown.
やべえやつじゃん。
But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up after. It was a love-hate relationship.
友達なのかなんだかようわからんな。
My mother called me Eve.
え？イブってこの人がイブなの？
My mother called me Eve.
イブ・スミスってこと？イブは7個のクリップしかないな。スミス。病院をちょっと見てみるか。
asked the hospital.
病院に連絡して。
I don't see how it's hard. We've established I was in Glasgow when he was killed. You've spoken with the hospital?
病院に行ったのは、イブの方やんな。これは花ってこと。ことだ。イブのことなんか話すの。この人はイブじゃないってことか。あれわかんねえな。なんなんだこれ。わかる。わかった。双子。双子あるね。
Twins?
Twins.
Really? Are you really asking me that question?
何 ?Twins。あ、なんだ。あ、ピーポー来てる。なんで
Are you out of your mind? Twins?
何よ、そんな何回も聞くの。
There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had pride of place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
あんまり手がかりになりそうにはないな。病院。病院。どうすんの？これな、タイムリミットあるんちゃうの？いや、わからんな。何がわからないのかがわからないな。
Mother called me Eve.
この人はイブなの？モナがイブのこと証言してなんか
It's like I
嘆い
told
て
you
る。
before.
でもイブってあんたのことじゃないの？
I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car.
あれで自分はイブじゃないかね。話しぶりではあるけどね。エリック、ピーター、ピーター。ロック、ザ・ロック。
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I guess the Rock. You've spoken to everyone there. Someone must have seen where he went. I don't know. So many things could have gone wrong. Yeah, I had to let myself in. The door locks if it swings too.
オートロック。
Yes.
何の
I
話？
always pull it shut and then lock the bigger lock with the key.
何の話だ？家のセキュリティの話かな。歩いて行ったんだろうな。金曜日の夜に喧嘩して、 サイモンが出てって車使わずにザ・ロックに行って、そっから行方がわかんねえと。ああ、そういうことだと思うんだけどな。ほんで何を思ったか、この女は車でグラスゴーって人と行って事故って帰ってきたと。アリバイ作って。そういう展開だと思うんだよな。うん。そこまではなんとなく分かった。
So, it was
ザ・ロックっていう店な、もう一人ピーターと誰だっけ？
it's the Rockington Arms.
スーザン。スーザン調べてみるか。あ、出てこないね。タクシー。事故。あるね、事故。
When I was 8, Mother died.
8歳
She
の時
slipped
に
down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point, and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day, and I left.
実の母親じゃない。
And across the street.
実の母親じゃない。また曲が流れてきたな。真相に近づいたのか、これ。
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
もう一回見ていい？グレース・ケリーって有名な人なんだろうな、多分。海外では。タレントかな。翌年にサイモンと出会った。グレース・ケリーのあんまり重要じゃないよね。重要じゃないね。養子。養子。違うな。養子じゃないね。なんだ？母。あるね。
Yeah, when I was at school. I worked part-time in the front shop. It was sort of an extended family thing. My dad used to work there, my mum worked there before I was born. I took care of paperwork, filing, typing out invoices, that kind of thing. It was a good job for a girl back then. I didn't work a till or anything though, I was quite shy, so I wouldn't have liked to have worked a till.
バイトの話して。
It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Sam's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff, stuff we never needed and I never had the heart to throw out. And I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags. Pulled them open, saw the body. I screamed and that's when I called the police.
何これ。また曲がかかっているよ。
Okay. There's a girl and she's staring out of the window. She's sad. She's trapped. She's here. She's looking out the window because her mother won't let her out.
なんかの心理テストか？
I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
「どういうことだ？サラ、赤ちゃんどうなってんの？赤ちゃん。
We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday. We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope. From when I woke up. Okay. I woke up. Simon was already up and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake, children sang me happy birthday. Then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. Turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left. From when I was my meal was a takeaway. I was could to think.
誕生日なのに喧嘩になったんだな。唐突に。うん。
1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents
ダ
died
グとエレノは
in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat wave. So when they discovered the bodies, it was just awful. Because of the circumstances, them dying together like that, they brought in a lot of police. The forensic entomologist. I had to look that up. It was because of the heat. It was just awful.
何の話？事件後の話か。ダグとエレノアはサイモンの両親か。赤ちゃんも死んじゃったんか。夏には両親。 あ、この人の両親か？あ、違うな。階段で落ちて死んだって言ってたな。
Then dying together like that. They brought in a lot.
いや。うわ、いっぱいある。
Yeah. I've been round to Doug and Eleanor's and they're very worried. I feel sorry for them. I got a job to contribute, you know. Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids. So you see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us. There's always been pressure.
サイモンの両親だよ。サイモンの両親も死んだの。
I hoover, I dust every week. Maybe less. I once asked Eleanor how often I should dust, and she said, if people asked, tell them you do it once a week, but every few weeks is okay. I think she was just trying to make me feel better. I mean, when I was there, she was hoovering every day, you know, ran an ordered house. You know how that generation is, putting on a brave front. She has secret stashes of cigarettes. Doug doesn't even know she smokes. When I was there, I saw her. She has these sort of porcelain vases, ornamental, next to the Reader's Digest books. Cigarettes inside. And she still has them. I mean, last time I was there, I looked in a vase. There was a fresh pack. I mean, all those years of marriage, and she still has a secret like that.
匂いで普通わかるけどね。どんだけ隠そうとしたってタバコはわかるよ。
Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper, but he wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly in the living room. Nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
うん。もう一回もう一回。ああ。地下室っていうのは何だった？
The whole thing was wrong. The bags,
死体が入ってたでしょ。
I think
地
it
下
was
室。
from our kitchen. You can probably check that. We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need. Dad used to grow mushrooms there. The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours. fine, considering. I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people have been there through my things. It's like I've been burgled. I mean, worse, obviously. I don't know. I haven't looked in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in. As good as new, he said. But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out. And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral. It's going to be a cremation. So, it happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone. We took him down to the cellar. We knew we had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck.
なんだ？自供してんな。自白してんじゃん。これ別にゲームでも何でもないのか。だからこれを読んで読み物として見るだけなのかな。クリアとか特にないのかもしれないな。うん。
It happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up.
共犯
We
者がい
bagged
る。
up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone. We took him down to the cellar. We knew we had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck.
アリバイって英語でもアリバイっていうの？腕時計1個。鏡。割れた鏡。
It wasn't the present so much. It was one of those arguments that had been simmering for a while. The present was a mirror. A nice
鏡を
mirror.
くれたんだ。
He'd engraved the glass, the kind of mirror a princess would have in a story. He made it specially for me.
あ、ガラス屋さんだからね。
His body did not real.
これまだ白切ってる時だ。
It looked like his throat had been cut.
喉を切り裂いた。
His glasses, has these thick glasses. He doesn't always wear.
メガネ。
The mirror. I can't remember. I put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I think. I haven't looked at it since.
そのもらった鏡のことを言ってんだろうな。 もう死体と一緒に入ってたんでしょ。
It happened very quickly. To be
うん。メガネ。あれ、カタカナバージョン。
No, he doesn't have any tattoos. He has a scar down here near his stomach, past his hip. Cut himself with some glass. That was before, a long time ago. He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here though. He takes them off with the camera. But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not book so much, or watching TV. He likes TV.
漢字バージョン。あ、1個しかない。協力。共犯者がいるよな、これな。つか、このゲームの目的がわからねえな。さっぱり。あ、これ21年。6月16って。あ、違うな。これ。見方がわかんねえ。今何年だ。
It happened very quickly.
94年とかの事件だもん
We
な。
agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other.
右が年か。年月日か。16年6月21日。なんでそれ今調べてんだ。ああ。絞り込みか。絞り込みだな。発言全文。14個。ガラス。あ、ちょいちょいあるな。
I did. Well, we met when we were 17, both working at the Glaziers.
ガラス屋で知り合ったんだ。
And the Glaziers. I worked there some weekends, and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children. Simon was quiet, more thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship. Wasn't always rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most of the time. You know? Plus, he had that look. He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books.
腕時計じゃなくて時計ないか。タイムも52個もクリッパーな。これ車とか。あるね。サイモン車。
I wasn't in the house all of Friday night. After the argument, after Simon left, I left too. I was upset and I wanted to get away. So I took the car. I left the next day, Saturday. I slept for a few hours in the car. When I woke up, I came straight back. Simon wasn't returning my calls and I wanted to try and make up. I got back to the house and Simon wasn't there. And I... Excuse me. Is there a bin?
ゲロしちゃってんじゃん。
Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I parked down the end of the road. I walked up to the house. I knocked on the door. No answer. I took my keys out of my bag, unlocked the door.
俺聞
The
いた
main
よ。
lock was unlocked. I could tell because the key wouldn't turn when I tried to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes on the shoe rack. I shouted out for him. I walked straight into the kitchen. He usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly into the living room. Nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom. He wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric, his boss. I didn't answer it.
全く同じこと言ってんだ。
And I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, but I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. I spoke to him. Then I called Simon's parents. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
うん。エリック14個。エリックからの電話を、ちょっと。ああ、ないのね。警察。ポリス。
I haven't been into work. I guess I've just been waiting to hear from you, hear from my husband.
いつ
I haven't been into work.
25。鍵。
No, I don't think it was. I turned the key, but it was already unlocked.
鍵が開いてた。オートロックみたいなこと言ってなかったっけ？
No, they were shut. Most of the windows are really hard to open anyway. They're stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. Or there's a cat flap in the back door.
入り口。あ、検索履歴ここに出るんだ。サイモン。2回調べてるサイモン。エリック。目撃者。目撃だけにしと。
She's crying, I guess. She's sad because She thought she saw her husband with another woman.
浮気。
But it's okay, because she finds out it wasn't her husband, it was his brother. And so it's fine. I think so. I mean, to get into our garden, we'd have to climb through other gardens. All the gardens back onto each other, so you'd have to climb over 1, 2, 3 gardens to get to ours. I mean, did anyone see anything? Did anyone see anyone come and go? An intruder? I think.
目撃者いないんだ。浮気。ああ、いっぱい出てきた、浮気。
An affair. Simon wasn't having an affair.
浮気なんてしないわっつってる。
No, I have never been unfaithful. I've never cheated on Simon.
私もしてないよと。
Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday.
この人入れ墨してんじゃん。
Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday. Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good
入
to
れ
each
墨なん
other.
かしてたっけ？
Life isn't a fairy tale. You do what you can.
あれ？入れ墨してなかったよな。違う人だよな、やっぱりな。絶対に。タトゥー。
Oh, my tattoo. I got it to express my individuality. It's an apple and a snake. So I moved out. Got a small bed sit. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings, so I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist.
数日の間に入れたってことか。
So I He saw me singing one of my shows. Pure chance.
94
Not
年
sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was. But he didn't know who I was. He was fascinated by the likeness. He guessed my name from my tattoo. Told me it was a palindrome, like that would impress me. I enjoyed talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit and interact and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He later told me it was like he was dreaming. A waking dream.
やっぱ双子じゃないの？タトゥーがあるかどうかでなんか判断しようとしてたんでしょう。彼って誰？サイモンか？結婚？ああ、いっぱいある。
A long time. We got married when I was 17.
6月18日のビデオ。結構古いな。
Childhood sweethearts. Something like that. Are you married, detective? I got pregnant. Both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room. And they decided we should get married.
何のこと？ああ、そういうことね。妊娠したからそれを機にってことね。
I guess you could call it that, but we were both happy to get married. It was a beautiful wedding. We had our first dance to Come Back and Stay. I'm not sure if that's a good wedding song, but I loved it. I chose it. I mean, it was genuinely our first dance. We'd never danced together before. It was probably awful to watch, but I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just me and Simon for that moment. Just the two of us.
うん。狂気。狂気。ないか。ああ。花。花イブ。
Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games. And that Eve was our imaginary friend.
多重人格?
Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. Mum was amazed.
母親が知らないってどういうこと？母親が知らずに生き別れか？生き別れの兄弟と姉妹ってこと？
You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay? Probably need needs tuning. No, it's okay. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street. Sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. See, they both had a love for the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain, but he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind. Oh, the eldest envied her sister fair. Oh, the wind and the rain, with a pretty little face and her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. So she pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Out comes the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain. Father dear, here swims and swans. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And then it gets really weird, so I think that's a good place to stop.
ちょっと実話混ざってんじゃん、この歌。
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister he didn't know she had. She knew that instant. The look on his face. She knew.
どういうこと？ちょっと待って。
When she went home.
誕生日の日に仕事から帰った彼女はイブやんな。私のことを話した。待てよ。花か。ああ、花の方ね。花がサイモンの恋人の方ね。こっちがイブか。花がイブのことを話した。実は自分には彼の知らない姉妹がいて、彼女は妊娠していて、家に呼びたい。妊娠しているのは花じゃないねや。イブが妊娠してんの？イブが妊娠してんじゃない？彼女はすぐに悟った。彼の表情を見て、すべてを。どういうこと？何を悟った？これちょっと重要じゃないかな。 ほんでここでなんであのことを話したのって言ってんのか。
What are you doing talking about Eve?
この人はどっちなんだ。花じゃないのかこの人。いやわからんな。もう一人いるのかもしかして。それとも多重人格か。多重人格者か。人格違うな。だって実際に人間は2人いるんだもんな。妊娠。あ、いっぱいある。
No. I lost the baby. I had a
Lost the
miscarriage
baby.
for 8 months.
8ヶ月で流産。
We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after.
あ、家も出されたと。
Yes. I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back. Me and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, a dollhouse in the attic, old things. We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there.
うん。
Yes, I'm fine. Oh,
ゲロ吐いたとか。
This happens some days. I'm pregnant. It's morning sickness.
6月27でしょ。でも流産したって言ってるよこれ。でもまだこの人は妊娠中ってこと？なんなんだ。2人して妊娠してんのか。片方は流産しちゃったんか。
No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant.
は？
No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant.
誕生日に伝えた。流産5個、フリップ5個。
Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. A miscarriage and then my parents. Yeah. They'd gone to bed feeling ill, thinking it was flu or something. The neighbour called me, I had to use my key to let them in. We found them dead in their bed. And they'd been there for days. No one had noticed. Just awful. It was so soon after my miscarriage. The worst year of my life. I'd been so happy to get married, and after that it was just like, fuck.
両親、サイモンの両親をぶっ殺しちゃったんじゃないの。歌まま亡くなってた。 流産した後すぐ死んじゃったのね。
Yeah. I mean, I was infertile. Thought I was. They told me I was infertile after the miscarriage because of complications. Hannah had a miscarriage. This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile. Felt like the universe had corrected its course. We were aligned again. But Hannah and Simon were still living with his parents. They were married. Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Derek had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then...
わあ、またピーポーになってる。花が流産した。産めない体になったが、あなたサイモンはその後も両親と暮らし続けた。
Derek had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then...
なるほど。流産したっていうのは過去の話なのか。なるほど。花とイブがサイモンとずっと交際してたのかな。なるほどな。なんとなく分かってきた気がするけど。とっつぁんはどうしたんだろうな、とっつぁん。
They said it was food poisoning. There was something in the food they ate. My dad liked to pick mushrooms, grow them too. They said it was the mushrooms. It was hard to believe. Death caps. They have a skirt around the cap. My dad told me
毒キノコで死んだの。
that. But, I mean, the police had no reason to think it was suspicious. They lived alone. And no one had any reason to hurt them.
ああ。
They said it was food poisoning.
なるほど。死因は
Must
食
think it's
中
very
毒か。
cool that their dad is a police detective.
この人のお父さん警察なの。
It's very that their dad is a police detective.
キノコ。キノコビデオ1個あるな。
I was living in the attic. It was a very hard time. I was depressed, was still pretty sick of the STD. And I came down one morning and they were dead. They were in bed and Both had been sick. They'd thrown up a lot. And I'd slept through it. The police said it was the mushrooms they ate. Dad was a mushroom expert. He used to take us picking with him, and he taught us how to recognise them. And there's no way he would have picked death caps. But the police believe that's what happened. They never even looked in the attic.
屋根裏に何かありそうだ。たまに出るこれは何なんだ。おー、屋根裏。
Yes, I read a lot as a child and watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we had, we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to play out there and make up our own stories. Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there?
毛
I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. I don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it. I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows. We spent hours and hours playing in it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all, passports, diaries, and gave them all really elaborate stories. Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough. We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights.
人形の家ってのは出てくるけど関係あんのかな。関係ないよな。屋根裏に住んでたんだな、こっちのイブの方は。食中毒っていうキーワードがここで違う
At the time they said it was poison, food
と
poisoning.
ころでつながっちゃうのか。
I mean, I felt so guilty. If I'd still been at home, maybe I could have done something. I don't know. At the time they
なるほど。毒キノコ、浮気、消せないのか。 4つしかないのか。なんだ、インスタントファイルアクセス。サイモンはその金曜日の時点で殺されてるっぽいんだよな。ザ・ロックには行ってないんだよ、これ。花目線か？違うな。イブ目線か。イブ目線で花が殺したんじゃないかっていうこと？おそらく。なるほど。あれでもイブが自供してるところあったよな。
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was.
どっかに。
It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Sam's parents on the phone.
共犯もいたんだよな。共犯もいたはずなんだから。二人でやったのか？わかんねえな。二人でやったんか。わからんな。地下室じゃなくて、電話。意外とまだ見てない電話。
A mobile phone? Yeah. Well, they have one for the
携
glaziers,
帯電話
it's
がある
everywhere.
時代。
I can't remember the number. Oh, it's in the kitchen. I saw it plugged into its charging cradle.
この時代、携帯電話があるんだな。
Sure. Yes, of course, if that would help. Will you phone the house to let me know when you want to come round? Then I can make sure that I'm there. I mean, I don't know. Something must have happened to him on his way home. He could be hurt. I mean, why hasn't he phoned? I don't know.
ないか。ロックっていうところでなんか。
Oh God, I don't know.
自動になんとか。
It's the Rockington Arms.
どうのこうのっていうとこなかったっけ？
Yeah, I had to let myself in. The door locks if it swings too.
閉めるとロックがかかる仕組みって。
Yes, I always pull it shut and then lock the bigger lock with the key.
う わからんな。浮気も調べた。妊娠も調べた。なんだろうな。結婚。サイモンがやっぱ多いから、サイモン・エリックとかで言ってみるか。サイモン・エリック。ああ、ないなぁ。サイモンの両親は何だっけ？誰だっけ？ダグか。サイモン・ダグ。サイモン・ダグ。ないね。スーザン。1位。タゴ。まさか三つ子なことか。サイモン、車。サイモン。サイモン結婚。サイモン結婚ある。
Yeah, we were 17. It was a nice wedding, people said. Simon looked very handsome in the photos. His parents paid for everything, but he's an only child, so it was important to them. It was what they called a shotgun wedding, but if you looked at the photos, you couldn't tell. The dress was beautiful. It looked like Princess Diana's. The train wasn't quite as long, though. There's a great photo of the bridesmaid helping to carry it out of the car.
イブとも正式に結婚してんじゃん。
Simon was very moral about that sort of thing. He wouldn't just walk out there and sleep with anyone. He wasn't that kind of guy. He took his marriage very seriously. No. The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow. So we were separated again. I stayed in the attic. It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognized me, I started wearing a wig.
ウィッグかぶってこれウィッ
Hannah
グ
and
な
I
の？
would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant. But I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers. Drunk guys I'd met in clubs, parks and alleyways. I was 17. It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD. When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. I found it hard to look sometimes. We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan.
ああ、これ重要ですね、この証言は。おそらく。ちょっともう一遍目か。両親が結婚式を企画して、花は彼らの家に引っ越した。妊娠を機にってことやな。結婚して、で、イブの方は行けないから、屋根裏に残ったまま。ウィッグをかぶって、花とは別人のような形で生活してたってことか。知ってる人と寝るわけにはいかないから、そうか。影武者のような感じだったんだな、多分な。その話を切り出して口論になったのかな。なるほど。なるほど、なるほど。これまた一つ重要な証言ですね。屋根裏。屋根裏11万だよな。ウィッグ。お、なんか何今の音。ドゥルリンって。何の音だ？
A wig? You mean... What type of wig?
どういうタイプの？何の話してんだ？あ、ちっちゃ、なんだ？どんな感じだ？終わったのか？まだよ。そうか、了解。じゃあ、終わったら教えてくれ。何その機能。ちょっと待ってね。
No, I've never
ウィッ
worn
グ
a
なん
wig.
てつけたこと
What
ない
kind
よ。
of wig?
花はね。
This other person doesn't exist. I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap?
猫の入り口。あ、二人いるっていうのは嘘なのか？
This other person doesn't exist. I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap?
さっきと言ってること違うよ。猫の入り口？
This was about 9.
9時
I
くら
went
い。
round and she was waiting for me. She was furious and so angry, the kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other, argued, cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig on from performing, she tore it off. Eventually, we grew tired of fighting and I left. This was 9. Tore it off. Eventually, we grew tired of fighting and
猫の入り口。猫。
No, no cat. My parents had a
Domino.
cat before they died called Domino. It was this little black thing with white dots. And we never did anything about the cat flap, but if you were thin, you could maybe squeeze through it. When we weren't together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book. The knock code. Something prisoners of war would use. We'd tap them out on radiator pipes or the attic floor.
モールス信号。わからんよ、それ。
Dad thought we had mice, but they couldn't find any.
ああ。
Bought a cat anyway.
それで猫がいるってことか。
We loved our cat, Domino. He had this little bell around his neck to stop him from killing birds in the garden. And we used to write each other notes and put them in the bell, and we could send them to each other. Mum found some of the notes once, and she thought I was just writing to myself because our handwriting was identical. And we had our own words for things, so she didn't quite understand them anyway.
あで、その音を他の人が聞いてるってことは実際にいるってことや。
We would send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book. The knock code. Something prisoners of war would use.
ってことは2人はいるね。
We loved our
実
cat
際に。
to each other. Some of the thought I was just writing. So she didn't quite understand them anyway.
暗号。モールス信号だけど。暗号っていう言葉を使ってるね。モールス信号ないね。ここでもなんかやってたよな、モールス信号みたいなの。この内容わからんやんだけど。
What are you doing talking about Eve?
これモールス信号やねんな。俺かわいそうなサイモン。いや、わかんねえな。この内容、何を言ってんのかわかんねえな。モールス信号に精通してる人ならわかんのかな。猫の入り口で、そんなことが出てくるのはね。ウィッグ。モールス信号。ブロンド。 ブロンドのウィッグかぶってたのかな。
Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. I bought a photo instead of spring photo. This was taken last year on holiday in Rome. It's the best one I have.
ローマ。旅行。まあ関係ないか。法廷への提出の際などに活用することができる。法廷の準備をしてるんか、これ。自動的に整理され、各証言は個別のクリップに分割されて保存されている。これ証拠として提出する、証言の証拠を裏付けるために使うってことか。タグ付けしていかなきゃ。身の潔白を証明すればいいのかな。でもやっちゃってるよな、これ。土曜日の午後のエリックのを手伝うことになってた。彼が来ないってエリックが電話で言ってて。ザロックっていう地元の店に金曜の夜に来たらしい。
Night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. Just isn't like him at all.
誰が言ったんだ、来た。
Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come and see you.
金曜日の夜。今朝になってもまだ帰ってこない。暗くなってもまだ帰らない。
Come see you.
ザロックに来たっていう証言は捏造じゃないのか。
Yes. He left after the argument. It was about 8 o'clock. Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice. Me? Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time. You must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
ダイアンって。ダイアンってお母さんか。 ある。誕生日。
Yes, that's my birthday. Not one of the big ones, but I guess you can see that. It was my birthday, like you said. We were going to have a meal at home. We had our meal. He gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present.
気に入らなくて。プレゼント。鏡だったんだよな。あるね。
About 8 years back. It was a present to myself. I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby. It's been hard trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup. Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present, another mirror, just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her.
なるほど。
So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open.
ああ。
She'd only meant to scare him off.
これ重要な証言ですね。あ、事故でやっちゃったんだこれ。浮気してたんだね、サイモン。ああ、浮気する相手が悪かったってことや。
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes. He wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present, another mirror, just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
ああ。わかりましたよ。花がやっちゃったんだね。花がやっちゃったんだ。花がイブのふりしてサイモンと会って、さサイモンがそういうことするもんだから怒ってやっちゃったと。じゃあイブの立場で潔白を証明すればいいわけか。でもイブは花を助けようとしてんのかな。アリバイまで作ってんだから。そうだよな。同じ人間として生きてきたんだから、花の罪は自分の罪にもなっちゃうわけだ。おそらく。 浮気。7。木花。最後。ある。これで全部だ、じゃあ。浮気クリップ。残りの2つ。
You're reaching here. I don't know why. No, I've never cheated on anyone. I've never taken anything from anyone. Simon is dead. But I have my baby to care for. Why are you trying to make me sad? Why are you so obsessed with sex and affairs? You cheated on your wife. Is this your thing? And what did your wife do? She didn't kill you. You think I killed Simon because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even there. I was in Glasgow worrying about whether my baby was still growing inside me. I mean, why would I kill Simon? I loved him.
What did your
wife do? She didn't kill you. You think I killed Simon because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even there. I was in Glasgow worrying about whether my baby was still growing inside me. I mean, why would I kill Simon? I loved him.あ、スクリーンショットした。びっくりした。花はないと。ああ。両親殺す必要あったのかな。2人。秘密。あ、秘密あるな。 Okay, you got me. I'll confess.
あ、白状する。秘密の週
It
末。
was a dirty weekend. Simon was going to expense it, pretend it was a business trip. I used a made-up name. We stayed at the hotel, had room service, didn't leave the room, had a great view of the river, and you could hear the church bells. Like you said, it was very romantic.
「秘密の週末」。サイモンは出張として経費を申請し、私も偽名を使って一緒にホテルで過ごした。部屋から出ることなく、
He said it was very romantic.
ああ、なんだ。
The river. It was supposed to be a secret. Just because Simon is dead doesn't mean I have to give up all his secrets. It doesn't have anything to do with what happened to Simon. No one murdered my husband because he cheated his expenses for a romantic weekend in Oxford. was supposed doesn't have anything to for a romantic weekend in Oxford.
週末。
Well, a week or so ago. It would have been the Saturday before my birthday. You know, I get like that on the weekends, have a lie-in, then want to get up and blitz the house. Well, a week or so ago. It would have been the Saturday before my birthday. You know, I get like that on the weekends, have a lie-in, then want to get up and blitz the house. 'It was supposed to
オックスフォード。
have something to do with what happened.
あんま関係ないな。ある。
There was a conference, something to do with double glazing. In Oxford? Are you sure? What would he be doing in Oxford if there was no conference? I remember calling him. He said it was boring and he spent most of the time at the bar.
会
There
議。
was a conference, something to do with double glazing. In Oxford? Are you sure?
会議の体
What
で
would
行
he
っ
be doing in
て、
Oxford if there was no conference? I remember calling him. He said it was boring and he spent most of the time at the bar.
会議
It
の
was
体で
supposed to be
行
a
って、
secret.
不倫してるわけか。
Just because Simon is dead doesn't mean I have to give up all his secrets.
浮気しちゃったんだ、これ。
My husband, because he cheated his expenses for a romantic.
ほんで妊娠しちゃったよ。多分。
It doesn't have anything to do with what happened to Simon. No one murdered my husband because he cheated his expenses for a romantic weekend in Oxford.
どうやって知り合ったんだろうな。だけど。どうやって近づいたのか。ああ。知り合ったというよりは近づいた方法が、あれだよな。悪意がなきゃ近づかないよな。経費。性病とセックスっていうのはさ、セックス。あるね。はい。6。
No.
取り調べ。
I was 15. Carl was
カ
older.
ール。
17, I think. I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. It's stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was
私
sad.
た
but
ち。
those
複
early
数形
experiences,
だ
they
な。
help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family.
ファミリー。ああ。 私たちって言ってんな。
I wouldn't say that. It could be passionate. It's just, it was more than that. It wasn't just sex like I had been with the other boys.
なるほど。まあ、若い頃から同じ人に対して恋愛することはあったってことね。
She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the car. Learned that you can't rely on confidence to get you through everything. She is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl. Hannah met him first. She had such a crush. I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of excuses.
あ、そうか。
After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that different to a bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush.
ヘアブラシで。
After that, we took it in turns, though I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon.
サイモンって。ああ、じゃあその浮気ってのはカバかけるような感じでやったんかな。こんな悪い遊びしちゃダメだよ。カマかけて引っかかっちゃったから怒ったって感じなのかな。運転は彼女の方が上手。免許は彼女が取った。一人二役やってんじゃん。一人二役じゃない。二人一役か。彼女の方が内気な性格が、あれね。花ね。お色気担当は、イブね。カールの時もそう。花が最初にやって、参っちゃったと。一目惚れしちゃったと。
Until Simon.
なるほど。浮気はだけど、
She's crying, I guess.
彼女が見たのは実は夫じゃなくて、彼の弟だったの。だから問題ない。問題ありません。
An affair. Simon wasn't having an affair. No, I have never been unfaithful. I've never cheated on Simon. Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday. Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other. Life isn't a fairy tale. You do what you can.
猫ドミノっつったっけ？なんかあるかな？ ないよな。これ以上出てこないよ。ドミノ。グラスゴーから花に電話したって言ってたよな。グラスゴーに行ったのはイブの方なんだ。ああ。なるほどね。サイモン。これ終わったよっつったらどうなるんだろうな。法廷になるのかな。法廷ステージに行くのかな。どういう目的でもってこれタグ付けするのかによってわかんないからな。強盗とか入れてもないよな。ただの例だもんな。うん。ザ・ロック。
So, it's the Rockington Arms, the rock.
ピーター調べたよな。最初の方で。出てこないよな、1個しか。ザ・ロックに来たっていうのは誰が言ったんだ。来た。あ、来た。
Really? Okay. Here's the rest.
続き。 あ
Yes, the only tune that the field could play was all the dreadful wind and rain. Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you.
Eh. 歌詞意味あるのかな。
Really? Good.
うん。
My mother called me Eve.
イブ母。
My mother called me Eve. Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. Mum was amazed.
引き別れなんじゃないかな、やっぱりな。引き別れ。双子。もう一回ちょっと同じこと調べちゃうけど。
There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people. More twins. Really? Are you really asking me that question? Are you out of your mind? Twins.
ありえないわっつって言うけど。
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence.
フローレンス。
When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary.
あ、
Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
フローレンスが連れ添ったのか。そういうことか。ああ、出た。
Florence took me home with her.
ああ、そういうことだ。
Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I
あ
guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion. take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion. Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight. It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing. I never knew any different. I grew up looking out of my window and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror.
そこでまた鏡が出てくるわけか。ああ、なるほど。鏡というキーワード使ってんだ、ここでも。
Looking out of my window and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror.
なるほど。
Florence was a warm, kind person, but she was broken, I guess. When I found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it, older papers, letters, that kind of thing. Her story wasn't there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand, I guess. I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. She never felt like she could marry again. Isn't that strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, you married for life and she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow. One of the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know.
なるほど。
No, it was just me and her. Eve was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when he came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember, that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week.
階段から落ちて死んだっていうのはフローレンスの話かなあ。
When I was 8, mother died.
ああ、それであの屋根裏に
It was an accident.
行くような感じになったの
I
か。
read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother.
はあはあはあ、なるほど
So I
ね。
burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street.
日記燃やしちゃったの？燃やす必要あったか？証
I
拠
read
な
a
のに。
diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street.
あ、家を出て通りの向こうへ歩いて行ったっていうのは花のうちに行ったってことか。なるほど。それから屋根裏生活の始まりってわけか。なるほどね。セッション保存しとこうか。フローレンス 連れ去り情報保存しとこうか。
On paper. Baby.
これ保存しとこう。連れ去り連れ去りっていうタグつけとこう。イブのふりをして、なるほど。イブに浮気しようとした瞬間にブチ切れちゃったわけだ。わかったよ。すべて謎は解けた。けど何を証言すればいいんだ俺は。誰の立場で何を目的に証言したらいいんですか？事実をそのまま述べればいいんでしょうかね。ちょっとやってみようか。だいたい分かったから。OK。メッセージを入力。あ、どうやってやんのこれ。OK。OK。あれ？はい。そうか。それじゃあ、分かったのか？君のお母さんがなぜあんなことをしたのか。お母さん？フローレンスか。私はイブ。分かったよ。未亡人、戦争未亡人だったでしょ。で、子供ができねえから、ならよかったよ、サラ。外で待ってるからログオフして出てきてくれ。あれ、終わり？はいしか言ってないよ、俺。この後いろいろなんかやる必要があるのかと思ったのに。はいって2つ言っただけで終わった。はあ。終わりましたよ。正しく理解できてたのかな？正解ですって言われたいな。はいって2回言っただけで終わりにされちゃうと誤解してるとことがないかな、自分で。クリアした感が欲しいな。 わった。クレジット。コンティニュー。ユーザーはオフラインです。これクリアでいいのか？ああ、ここでまだ見てないのはこんだけありますよっていうことなのか。全然半分ぐらいあるな、まだ。アクセスできてない動画。フローレンス。戦争。違うな。夫。ああ、2個見つけた。
When you've been married for 10 years, stuff accumulates. You could argue about anything. And he's so nice. That doesn't help. He tries to smooth things over, and that just makes it worse. We're both passive aggressive, so we never normally argue directly about anything. When you suspect someone of murdering their husband.
殺す。不殺。
Suicide? No. He would never do anything like that. He is not the kind of person to do anything like that. I mean, to hurt himself? No.
まあ、花が喉切り裂いたからね。両親。21個もある。債務。花。両親。電話。脳。キノコ。みんな、この両親はなんで殺されたんだろう。恨みかな。21個もあるんだよな。なんだろうな。あと。
It's Rapunzel. The story starts when she's born. Mother Gothel, a witch, takes Rapunzel from her parents and keeps her locked up in this tower. Rapunzel gets pregnant by the prince, and Mother Gothel is furious, so she cuts off her hair and throws it. Actually, her hair's already short here, so that's already happened. So she throws her into the wilderness, and Rapunzel is reunited with the prince, who's blind, but she kills him with her tears, and so it's a happy ending. Is that too much?
ハッピーエンド。実績ロック解除って出たぞ。ラプンツェル。ラプンツェルいっぱいあるな。5個か。
Sorry. The picture, the way it's drawn, just reminded me of the books we used to read as children. I read those fairy tales over and over, and they were so real to me. Rapunzel was my favourite. My brain is just full of it. Are any of these in colour?
絵を見て言ってんのか。
Did I pass? Sorry, I messed it up with all that Rapunzel stuff. Do you need me to do that card again?
心理テスト的なやつをやってたんだろうな。
We were obsessed with fairy tales. Not just the pretty ones, but the traditional ones. They were dark and real, bizarre and violent. Felt like life. We had this huge old book that I think Mum must have bought from a library sale. The illustrations had thin tracing paper over them to protect them. They were in colour, shiny plates. At the front of the book was an index of illustrations. We read that more than the actual stories. We'd read aloud the captions and flip between the pictures. There was something intimate about peeling back the tracing paper, undressing the pictures. Rapunzel's hair is cut. The eagle plucks out his heart. The princess pricks her finger.
うん。こんなのが引っかかるってことは、リドルとかも引っかかるかな。さすがに引っかかんねんか。どうしたらクリアってのわからんな。クリアとしていいんでしょうか。みなしクリアとしてもいいかな、これは。だいたい分かったってことで。さあ。とりあえず終わるか。2時間50分ぐらいやってるからな。終わりどこがわかんないよな。ありがとうございました。ハーストーリーというゲームでした。